First, for countries who have been to the moon. Okay, whatever. Let me do the audio check, and then I'll go do it if you say hi to the stream for at least like 2
Spring.
sentences. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the audio check, and I don't want to hear that fucking ad. For countries who have been to the moon. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's picking up. Let me do the audio. All right, we'll start the World Cup soon. Enjoy Bubba Radio.
Bubba Radio. Hello, everyone. This is the trade-off for Human Boy to go give our cat his meds. I will be your MC until then, until he's done. So, welcome to the 4 people watching. How is everyone doing on this glorious Wednesday? Or whatever day or time it is for you. I don't know what else to talk about. Now there's 8 people. Woo! Definitely improvement. I am an improvement. I don't know if that's what you're saying, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment. So thank you. What's everyone hoping will happen on the stream today? I am hoping that he just decides to stream a completely different game and throws you guys off guard. Finally a better presenter than Smelly Human Boy. Yeah. Not the first time I've heard that. I'm pretty great. It's 1 a.m. Go to sleep. That's late. Man, I am like 3 hours deep into my sleep by 1 a.m. Oh, here he comes.
Cat's dead.
Cat's dead.
Cat's dead.
I'm a better presenter, apparently,
Aww.
than you.
I'm smelly.
Stardew Valley stream. Yes! You should stream little Stardew Valley.
I would if you'd play with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's hinging on me.
At this point, it'd just be a Roots of Pacha stream, though.
Ooh. Not as good.
I get to ride dodos.
Yeah, but like, it's still just not as good.
Whatever. Did you tell him at the time I thought Ed was dead?
When did you think Ed was dead?
You were in the shower, and then you heard me shouting. I was like, Grace, Grace, come here, Grace. And you're like,
that was
what?
Terrifying.
And it, like, so from my perspective, so Grace just hears me shouting. So she runs over, and like, I was lifting up the cat's head to do his medicine, which we rubbed this cream in his ear. And he just completely limp, which is not usual. Normally when I touch him, he like coos a little bit and like looks at me. So he's just completely limp, and I was like, oh, we gotta make the ear thing easy. And then when I got my thumb in his ear and he didn't do anything, I was like, that's a little odd. And then I started just like trying to lift his whole body, and he just completely ragdolled. And that's when I'm like, oh, it finally happened. So then I was calling Grace, and she comes in, and as soon as she comes in, he perks up. He's like, what? What's going on? And I'm like, I swear, before you came in the room, he looked like he was dead.
And mind you, too, for context, this was also around the time when he was, like, medically kind of crashing out. Like, we had taken him to the emergency vet. I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know if we had taken him to the emergency vet at that point. But, like, it was around the time when we had, like, a lot of, like, we didn't know if he was gonna, like, we thought he was coming to the end of his life. And so it would not have been, like, unusual for that to happen. Although now he's doing great, and it's been almost a year since that crash out, and he's been, like, living his best little old man life. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I forgot about that. That was fucking scary.
That was really scary. It was funny, though, because as soon as you got here, he started living again.
Yeah, I came in the room and I was like, what? He looks fine. What's going on?
And I'm like, I promise.
Like, so shook. You were so shooken up. I felt so bad for you because I could tell you were so panicked.
Thought he was dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he's okay now. He's a good little moo cow, and he's just living his best little old man life. Yeah. Cat really said psych. It's true. He really did. There was also a time where we thought maybe he was deaf.
Yeah, I thought he was deaf.
He used to be really afraid of like thunderstorms, and then also I think it was maybe around the time of like the 4th of July and like fireworks, and he was just like hanging out with us during a thunderstorm, and we were like, that's weird. He usually, like, the second that there's thunder, he like slinks away and goes and like finds a little hidey spot, hidey hole, and then he like was just hanging out. And so we were like, maybe he can't hear it anymore. And then we took him to the vet, and the vet was like, well, he's on gabapentin, so I think he might just be really relaxed. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, that's a nice little existence for him. It's just really chill and relaxed and a little less anxious about thunderstorms. So,
a little guy.
Yeah. So I don't think he's... Something happened the other day that, when the smoke alarm went off, I could see his ears moved. So I'm like, he can hear it.
No, he's not deaf. He's deaf.
He's just a relaxed little medicated boy.
That's nice. All right, get out. Get out here.
You're welcome.
Go. Thank you. Get out here. You're welcome for me doing the cat's little ears and his gross food.
That's nice.
Uh-huh. If you don't want to hear me yelling about stuff, you're going to want to close the door.
Yes, I'm going to.
Sounds good. Okay, bye. What's up, gang? All right, for the people who haven't jumped in the stream yet, they're just going to have to be late. Sucks to be them. Sucks to be them. Because we have World Cup shit to do. Right? Right. Here's the bracket. We did a stream yesterday for CB2 versus Visegrad. We did a stream earlier today for American and Australia Alliance versus the Slavic Mushroom Pickers, which is what they called themselves. I didn't do that. And yeah, so we're continuing on today. Today we have Great Britain versus USA 4. Because now that challenge is working, I can see what order I should be casting them in. So let's see our contestants for the day. Oh, I have to do the zoomy zoom. I hate the zoomy zoom. Okay, no. There we go. Close enough. All right. So, if you have not been a part of this format, these streams are generally pretty short. They're about an hour long. It makes it easier for people to go and find the games that they want to watch, go back and watch just the teams they want to watch, that sort of thing, rather than a big bloated 10-hour stream at the end of the whole tournament. Right, we have 5 games in front of us today. They go between conquest, domination, and land battles. All 5 games are played no matter what. If it is a 5-0, if it is a 3-2, it doesn't matter. We will be casting all 5 games. At the top of the little graphic here, you can see 2 global bans. Each team gets to pick one faction that you will not see this stream no matter what ever by either team. So Great Britain decided neither us or them get to play Slaanesh, and Team America decided neither us or them get to play Vampire Counts. Sounds good? Sounds good. That's really it. You can't play the same faction as anyone else on your team, so we could see the same faction twice in a stream today, but it would have to be different teams playing it. And in fact, let's just pull up the games right now and look at how many factions we have today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like we have 9 different factions across 5 games, so only 1 repeat today. Cool. With that, might as well get started. We are looking for Nalnish versus Goji. Goji is playing Tzeentch like a scumlord bad person. Dom player bans? Yeah, apparently. Well, let's do it. For Gojira and Team America on Tzeentch, we have Kairos Fateweaver with Blue Fire as his only spell. And we have a Soul Grinder of Tzeentch, so going for the Kite and Snipe type build. A Chaos Warrior of Tzeentch, extremely heavy metal frontline. Oh, wow. Haven't seen that in a while. Then we have some Horrors, 1 pink, 1 blue, 2 Centaurs of Tzeentch with their armor piercing and a Screamer. Pretty unique Tzeentch build. On the other side, for the Dark Elves of the Great British Forces, we have 2 Scourge Runner Chariots, 3 Blackheart Corsair Handbows, 3 Blackheart Corsair Regulars, 3 Bleak Swords, 3 Cold One Dread Knights. No, sorry, just Cold One Knights. That's my bad. 2 Dark Riders, and then a Supreme Sorceress of Dark with Doombolt. Yar. Doombolt comes in for Kairos. He really doesn't take that much damage from it, but the blue fires he casts actually just missed the Scourge Runner chariots entirely. That's fun. That's nice. I mean, I'm sure the Dark Elves think it's fun and nice. Now, this is Conquest. I doubt this game is going to go that long, but in case it does... Oh, that was one other disclaimer I forgot to do. In case it goes long, the Dark Elves do want to take that point and get it ticking down so Tzeentch can't blue fire kite them forever. The other disclaimer I forgot to do, I have not watched any of these replays. I actually don't know the score. I don't know who wins what things. I do know which team advanced because I helped them set up with their next opponent and get to scheduling and stuff and yada yada, all that. So I know which team wins, but I don't know the score and I don't know how the individual games went. So I'll be as surprised as you are about the builds, the factions, the results, yada yada. Right? Right. Blackheart Corsair handbows are in range to do some shooting, but they are not traditional bow units. They're 360 skirmish units. You can see their arc of fire is pretty ass awful for shooting at these Chaos Warriors. They are trying to shoot at the blue horrors instead, but I'm sure they'd like to find Centaurs or Kairos or Screamers or what have you. This is going to be bad. That's a Doombolt on top of Centaurs who just dragged it into a Chaos Warrior of Tzeentch. The friendly fire! Well, I guess 2 for 1. The Dark Elves don't have any friendly fire. They're fine with it. Blackheart Corsair is getting wrecked by blue and pink horrors. Meanwhile, Colden Knights get a countercharge on the Centaurs of Tzeentch. Those Centaurs losing leadership and bailing out. Who's not losing leadership is the Chaos Warrior frontline. Those guys are stalwart in their dedication to their mission. Another blue fire out. This one onto Colden Knights, who are currently fighting Screamers. That damage is going to look kind of bad, but the Screamers are going to quickly die off, I imagine. That's coming their way. Gaze of Fate onto some Dark Riders that were trying to get into the pink and blue horrors, but with Cold Knights here and they're already kind of there, that's not really going to do that much, honestly. Not a super high value net. Fine net, not a high value net. Soul Grinder wandering around, causing terror, getting a couple charges in here and there, but he's not really being used as a sniper rifle in this one. He's being used as kind of like a hybrid bruiser. He's just trying to get in there and disrupt these Cold One Knights, punish anybody who overextends, that sort of thing. He'll be useful in the late game. His ammo will still be there, so might as well. Kairos chases off some Cold Knights, but it's just a terror route. They actually have a good amount of leadership despite terror routing, so they are going to come back no matter what. I don't see them. Yeah, they're not going to route. And I think I'd rather be a Dark Elf right now. Bounce power is slightly Tzeentch favored, but I don't know. I think the Dark Elves have got some sauce left. The Chaos Warriors are taking a good toll on them, which is pretty bad, but if they just start backing off and like cycle charging with their chariots or their Cold Knights or kiting with their Blackheart Corsair handbows, I think they can deal with the Chaos Warriors. And the other forces of Tzeentch are having a pretty bad time. The Centaurs are nearly tapped out. Soul Grinder's at half HP. Kairos is Kairos, so he's still pretty healthy, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Dark Elves are doing okay. Horrors trading fire with the Blackheart Corsair handbows, who are distracted and firing sideways into the Screamers, trying to get rid of those guys. And how long do we have Murderous Prowess? We still have Murderous Prowess for 30 more seconds, which does give the Dark Elves another half minute of superpowers before they kind of start to fade away. All their troops will be fresh vigor, even after their little buff wears off, so it'll be maybe another minute and a half to 2 minutes before they're actually, like, leadership is down, melee stats are down again. Another Doombolt onto a cluster of Chaos Warriors. Pretty solid damage if that's an undercast. How much does that cost you? 9 Winds of Magic? Not bad if it's undercast. If he was overcasting, then that's probably not good, but I think it would do more damage. Bounce power still kind of sitting in that 60-40 range, with the 60 being Tzeentch. Scourge Runner Chariots are trying to walk off Centaurs and also shoot at the blue and pink horrors that are continuing to fire at them. And the Chaos Warriors are now starting to run out of steam, and I think that's where Tzeentch is going to have some problems, because Tzeentch's balance of power is a little artificially buffered up by Kairos being full HP, and he's expensive, but he is a Caster Lord, and I say this a lot, but like, true Caster Lords, who don't have very good combat stats in any way. Hold on, is this Discord message relevant? No. Cool. Like, them having full HP or them having 1 HP, they're still effectively the same unit. They just need to cast spells and be alive. So the balance of power is a little inflated because he's taking literally no damage. All of Tzeentch's actual damage is, you know, starting to rout. The Chaos Warriors are leaving. Soul Grinder's at half HP. These Spearmen are about to leave, so... Looking around, it is whether or not you think Kairos can carry. And something I haven't been seeing, which is concerning for the Dark Elves, is I haven't seen any army abilities of Tzeentch yet. And Kairos has been throwing out a ton of spells. So either he's been using those tier 1 arcane things that I just haven't noticed, and he has a ton of Winds of Magic, or we have a tier 3 army ability of Tzeentch, or even 2 of those Doom Bolt things that Tzeentch can throw out, the Bolts of Change. Those are just sitting in the back pocket, which is very dangerous and not factored in the Balance of Power. Balance of Power does go back towards more of 50-50, so me singing the praises of Dark Elves this whole game is starting to actually matter. Goji's going to chuck a quick blue fire down the line of some Black Arc Corsairs, get some decent damage out. But here's the real problem. If you end up in the late game of just the Soul Grinder and Kairos, you can't capture that point. Kairos physically can't, and a half-health Soul Grinder has the capture weight of a wet blanket, so not great. If the Dark Elves can just literally survive for the next 5 minutes, they're going to automatically win the game, which is where my Tzeentch pessimism is coming in. But if you do have a tier 3 army ability paired with Kairos' net, ooh, he doesn't have any more. I was going to say he could take out this full health Black Arc Corsair with a tier 3 army ability and a net, and then the Dark Elves capture weight is pretty bad, and you could just put the Soul Grinder on the point and force the Dark Elves to at least commit some infantry to stop you from taking it, but then you could terror out them off. I don't know. I'm just saying it could have been something, but he doesn't have a Gaze of Fate, so I guess the hypothetical doesn't matter. Doombolt feels so underwhelming. It's really good, especially if you overcast it, but undercast doesn't look that impressive. It's impressive in comparison. It's comparing what you could do with 9 Winds of Magic. Doombolt is amazing, but it's only 9 Winds of Magic, right? So you're comparing it to like a Flock of Doom. In comes another Doombolt onto Kairos. Nice poke of damage. Kairos does get knocked over in front of the Scourgerunner chariots that just kind of drive up next to him. But he's getting peppered with Black Arc Corsair Handbow fire. Scourgerunners are right next to him, and these other Scourgerunners are shooting at him from the trees. Balance of Power continues to get worse and worse for Kairos and Tzeentch, so I feel justified in my earlier criticisms. Because it is almost officially down to just Kairos and the Soul Grinder. We technically have Chaos Warriors and we technically have Screamers, but they're both so damaged I don't really factor them in. So it's like, all right, Kairos and Soul Grinder, what are you going to do about all these infantry that are still left? In comes another blue fire. Does really good damage to Black Arc Corsair Handbows. And where are the Tzeentch army abilities? I'm so curious if he's been pumping Kairos full of Winds of Magic and I just haven't seen it, or if we're about to see hell rain from the skies. Because we're 8 minutes into a game where Kairos has been casting consistently. He's got to have a good amount of army abilities. And they also have cooldown, so it's not like he could just save up and do like tier 2, tier 2, tier 2, you know, and triple shot Doom Bolts from the sky. Like, he's got to use them soon if he's going to use them. Screamers charge in with Kairos. Not that much damage from Kairos, but he is still terror causing, and we are in the late games. The Dark Elves, ooh, these guys are actually still fresh, but they've lost their leadership buffs. Yeah, they're still going to be terrified. In comes another Doombolt from the Lord. Gonna do good damage on the Fate Weaver. And the Scourgerunner chariots are coming for him. What are the Soul Grinders going to do? Soul Grinder is shooting at infantry, trying to use that spread shot to get them nice and damaged and push them off the map, while also keeping Kairos safe from those little Black Arc Corsair Handbows. Chaos Warriors get run over by chariots and a Lord. So it looks like they're going to rout. There they go. Screamers are about to fall. And there is a tier 3 army ability of Tzeentch very late in the game, but it is trying to take out the last Bleak Sword. It'll also do a little bit of friendly fire to Kairos, so I bet he's just holding on as best he can and hoping not too many of those bolts hit him. He is a thin little guy, so maybe he'll be okay. The Bleak Swords don't honestly take that much damage as they start to run, but their leadership is really low and the Soul Grinder is charging through them, so the Terror Routes are coming in. A lot of Terror Routes turning into natural routes. We might even get some shatters here. The Bleak Swords are going to be okay. There's an Arcane Surge, so it does look like Gojira was holding on to a lot of army ability as he just threw out a tier 3 and a tier 1 at the same time. I would honestly not be shocked to see a tier 2 come out soon. I wonder what he throws it at. He has been completely ignoring the Supreme Sorceress of Dark, and I think at this point you have to commit to it. Because now if you start poking her, like, she's not going to die in an effective amount of time, so you need to just get rid of everybody besides her. But then honestly, like, she could just run away. Like, if you really just want to focus on winning, it's Conquest. You have the point and 100 seconds left to go before you just win the game. Like, you can just fuck off. This lady could run to the corner of the map, and Kairos and the Soul Grinder can't catch her in time to do much about that. A Doombolt gets cast at the ground. That looked a little weird. I don't know how that worked. I think that was maybe targeting a shattered unit. I don't know. Kairos and the Soul Grinder currently still fighting some Bleak Swords. But yeah, that problem's coming in hot. He has officially 1 minute to somehow win the game, and he's currently down, so it's not even like, oh, he's super close to army losses. Like, he's got to do a lot of balance of power work if he's going to trigger army losses to win this game. He can't capture. There's no way the Soul Grinder can capture in this little amount of time. You see Nalnish, the Dark Elf player, is trying not to clump up too much, trying to spread out. Yeah, he's actually sending his Lord away. That's smart. Just don't keep your Lord next to your troops. Force Kairos to either fight your troops or you, but he can't fight both, and it doesn't matter as long as you survive for 30 more seconds, it's fine. She is going to duel Kairos. Does get a little shot on him as he tries to chase off these Black Ark Corsairs. 18 seconds left, and the Soul Grinder is actually almost Demonic Instability crumbling. Still has 2 ammunition, but it's not going to use it. Kairos still surrounded by Black Ark Corsair Hambos. Starts to fight back against the Dark Elf Lord, but it's too late. Actually, army losses might take him. Nope, 2, 1, and down he goes. Pretty good game, very close, but Tzeentch taking a build that would do better with infinite time, and unfortunately for him, the Dark Elves put him on a timer. Which is smart to do in general. In Conquest, it does bother me if I see someone push past the point without bothering to take it, because you might as well. Like, there's no reason not to take it. If you have a full health infantry unit, it takes literally so little time that if you have someone walk through the point, you'll take it on the way through in most cases, so I get annoyed when people, like, don't intentionally path through it. Looking around the Dark Elves, the Lord got good value. Everybody else just kind of did fine. No real standout players, but no one did poorly. Yeah. GG's. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. You're not supposed to see that part yet. I don't know if there's any spoilers from round 2 yet in there, but still. Still. It's uncouth. Bam. So let's scroll to the top, select that, hit the paintbrush tool. Bam, bam. That is a loss for Team America and a win for Great Britain. Man, I don't like that white outline on it. I don't like that at all. Let's do... Where's the Slaanesh? Oh, is the Slaanesh way down there? Why? Boo. All right, I gotta drag it up a couple layers. One sec. Okay, there's the Slaanesh. Now use the paint tool. And now... The checkmark doesn't have any surrounding? What the... This game sucks. Whatever. It's too late now. All right. On to round 2. Milky Way versus Flying Taco. Milky Way, I see you in the chat. I hope you won't be offended when I say I'm probably betting on Flying Taco for this one, buddy. Flying Taco do be kind of one of the best of the players that exists. Okay, there's Goji, delete Goji, and now we have USA for Taco. DeVito Goblin, aka Flying Taco, on his ogres. Oh, good. So Milky Way has to fight Taco on Taco's favorite faction. That's so exciting. Okay. Consider me nervous. For Milky Way, we have Skaven, and Milky Way is pulling out the Flex Queek. Man, if you take down Flying Taco on his favorite faction and you took Queek Headtaker, that is epic respect. Photoshop has some good endgame, but the first 20 hours, terrible gameplay. All right. For the builds, for the Skaven, we have an Ashen Sorcerer with the Fear of Aramar scroll, and then Warp Stars for a little bit of Lord Sniping. Queek Headtaker, Butt Naked, Ashen Triads, and Wolf Rats across the front line. Some Storm Vermin, Halberds, Rat Ogres, 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, and 2 Rattling Guns. Pretty metal Skaven build. On the other side for Flying Taco, we have Blood Vultures, who are trying to get a little bit of poke on the Warp Lightning Cannons. Didn't accomplish much, unfortunately. We have Gorgers and an Eshin Maneater in the Vanguard being sneaky. Then we have some Crushers with Iron Fists, Saber Tusk Packs, Noblar Flingers, Noblars in the front line, more Crushers, these 2 with great weapons, including the Sky Striders, and then a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with just Troll Guts. So Flying Taco is trying to just Crusher cycle charge his way to victory. And theoretically, Warp Lightning Cannons and Rattling Guns could do okay against Crushers. I mean, we're already seeing some decent damage coming over here from the Warp Stars and whatnot. Rattling Guns are turning and trying to fire. Oh no, they're firing backwards. Boys. We're getting good damage on these Crushers as they get hit with the Weeping Blade. Oh, yes, and these ones also run into the Triads. The Triads were hidden. The Triads were hidden. He didn't even know. Oh, the Crushers are taken out instantly. And in the back line, we are losing some Rat Ogres. We're losing some Wolf Rats. But, I mean, we got Blood Vultures, so we take those. As Saber-Tooth Packs dive onto the Warp Lightning Cannons to stop them from shooting, they do have to fight on top of Stormform and Halberds as the second of 3 Crushers is retreating while Troll Guts is healing it. Dogs are chasing, Ashen Triads are chasing, so they're still taking a lot of damage as the Rattling Guns are falling back. But the cheeky front line has literally no one in it. The Triads and the Dogs peeled off to deal with the Crushers, so now we have Gnoblars just walking into the Skaven backline. Some Storm Vermin are marching forward to stop them. Other places, Rattling Guns are just going to try and stop them themselves, but I mean, sure, they're shitty 200 gold Gnoblars, but someone's got to stop them. As the Gnoblars continue to stream in, the Rattling Guns are under pressure. Skaven took an early little lead, but it's starting to look a little suspect as we are about to lose a Warp Lightning Cannon. We're about to lose Rattling Guns as little Gnoblars. Look at the Gnoblars go. They're just stabbing my boys. They're stabbing my poor boys. Rattling Guns take to the hills. They're trying to get away from these Gnoblars. Ashen Triads did peel for them, though. And Queek's out on the hunt. He's trying to catch the Slaughtermaster, who has 14 more speed than him, so that's a pretty tall order. One of the Crushers is back. Still pretty significantly damaged despite being healed, but it is back. Ashen Triads are chasing out the Sky Striders, who are just going to get a downhill rear charge onto some Rat Ogres who recently rallied. They will not rally for much longer as they do get running again. I'm starting to get scared. I'm starting to feel it, Mr. Krabs, and it doesn't feel good as Rattling Guns tear apart some Gorgers who were in a fight with Rat Ogres. Warp Lightning Cannons are trying to poke out the Slaughtermaster. But I fear the Ogre healing. Where's that Crusher that was over here that took a lot of damage? Did it go all the way off the map? I'm looking for it. I'm just zooming out quick. Sky Striders are still super healthy. That one we saw get a Troll Guts is not healthy, but it exists. It's getting another heal now. Meat Feast. It does look like the Crusher with the Iron Fists was actually taken all the way off the map, so that's a pretty big win for the Skaven. But Bounce of Power is back to like 50-50. And the Ogres have a lot of healing left that they're going to do. The Skaven don't have a lot of boys left they're going to be able to use. Eshin Maneater going nuts in the back line, doing his special ops missions to knock the Warp Lightning Cannons offline. Rattling Guns are trying to reform ranks and shoot at the Sky Striders, but there's a bit of a lip between them and the Sky Striders, so I'm not sure if their bullets are actually really going to hit too well. Yeah, not too much. They do apply Suppress. They slow these guys down to 48 speed. The Eshin Triads actually are technically faster. They could maybe catch them if those guys keep being suppressed. We still have a lot of spears. One of the Crushers is almost heal capped, and it's wandering into Halberds and Eshin Triads, but those are unbraced Eshin Triads, so the charge damage is going to be pretty significant as they also shut down the Rattling Guns. Speaking of Rattling Guns, they light up the Sky Striders, who are now trying to back off as Taco buys himself a little bit of space. Unfortunately, we have Gnoblars streaming back in, and the Eshin Maneater is also on the hunt. These Rattling Guns do seem to be on borrowed time. They can get one more volley on the Sky Striders. Make it good, boys. Make it good. That was like 600 HP. And now they're shut down by the Eshin Maneater, who did just take some Warp Stars in the back. You thought I didn't notice. I did. Other Rattling Guns set up. Nice job keeping them safe so far, despite the circumstances. And again, they're teeing off onto some Crushers. Again, they're doing some solid damage. They don't do as much damage when you're running away as opposed to running towards them, and also when they're wounded. Storm Vermin need to reform. They're currently guarding a disappeared crew, so they do need to get back towards the main battle in places where they might actually encounter some foes. As we have other Rattling Guns still trying to run from the Eshin Maneater. Warp Stars are out onto the Sky Striders. Really good damage. Knocks a couple of them out. Takes out 3 models. Oof, that's brutal, because the heals can't bring back models. Queek wants to 1v1 the Eshin Maneater. We'll see if the Eshin Maneater gives it to him. Maneater smoke bomb to give himself a little more melee defense, but he is just trying to get away from Queek, who's not having it. Queek did get a hit on him earlier. Can he get another one? No, he's too slow. As the Rattling Guns turn, they're going to shoot the Saber-Tooth Packs. Probably shoot the Sky Striders. The Eshin Maneater just jukes past Queek.
Rattling Gunfire is going to take out the Sabertooth Packs. Queek's still dueling with the Eshin Maneater. We have an insanely close game, which is not something I would have expected from Milky Way versus Flying Taco on Ogres versus Skaven. Sorry, Milky Way, I doubted you, but like, it's Flying Taco. What up, Rocket? Hope you're doing well, brother. Hope the dogs are well and glorious. My puppy's getting fat. Hazel was like 45 pounds for a couple years in a row, and then we've been feeding her too good, and I haven't been walking her as much with all the bullshit going on, so she's 55 pounds now. She's not actually that chunky, but it is funny. The vet was like, whoa, she gained some weight. Anyway. Ugh. Overcasted Troll Guts undoes all the work Milky Way put into the Sky Striders as they're back to literally like full HP. Rattling Guns poking down the other Crushers who got a meat feast. Wow, the Ogres are just healing all the damage away. That's insane. Warp Star Thrower still trying to poke him down wherever he can, but the last of the Rattling Gun seems to be going. And we will be getting into a late game of Queek and some Storm Vermin Halberds versus the boys, and we're just going to see how much they can tank from cycle charging, which is why the Skaven would have liked to have had that point by now, because they currently don't. So they're going to have to get over there, take the point, then withstand cycle charging for 10 plus minutes, which just, that's not going to happen. So either they're going to have to kill the Ogres who are cycle charging them or die. I don't know. There's no way this game goes on 10 more minutes, is my main point. Another little Ninja Stars out onto the Sky Striders does more good poke to them. But they're fully healed up now, so they're not losing models. And here's the tricky thing. The Storm Vermin are trying to advance, but they need to brace, or they're going to take so much damage from these guys. It looks like they're going to try and countercharge. Ow, that's a big chunk of damage. They're really close to routing, but not quite yet, as the Slaughtermaster does take on the Eshin Sorcerer. Now, I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet on the Eshin Sorcerer to win this. Oh, shit, he's getting slapped around. Okay, well, let's look somewhere else for the time being. Oh, hey, look, Queek's doing stuff. So Queek gets Weeping Bladed by the Maneater, who does throw a smoke bomb on himself, and now Queek is surrounded by Crushers. He's loving it, he's loving life. He has very good bonus versus large stats, so he's definitely going to do well here. Oh, no. Cringe bonus versus infantry. It is wild to take Queek versus frickin' Ogres because his bonus versus infantry is like literally wasted as Army Losses takes out the Skaven. It was a very good showing from Milky Way. It was a very good showing from Milky Way with a build that I would call suboptimal. I liked a lot of it. I liked a lot of your build. I don't think Queek's the choice here. Honestly, if you're gonna go with a combat lord, because you want this whole build to be the exact same, Tretch is unironically the better choice. He's anti-large, he has higher melee defense than Queek. I know you were doing it for honor, but Tretch is... I like the rest of your build, actually, a lot. That was really cool. It's not something that I personally would have run, and it performed better than I thought, so I think there's a lot to be proud of here. I just think if you swap out Queek for Tretch, it's just more competitive. As for DeVito Goblin, aka Flying Taco, aka Senpai, Noblar Flinger is paying for themselves 4 times over. 3 times over? 2 times over? I don't know. I forget if they cost 200 or 300. Tretch's auras are low-key good. They're pretty good if you're taking Storm Vermin too. Crushers did most of the work. One of them just got completely bodied. The Iron Fist, they got 37 value, but the other ones, their cycle charging was super important. Eshin Maneater was really good support, so good job by Taco, good patience, good use of the healing. GG's. Evens it up at 1-1. Bam, bam. And we'll move on to the domination rounds. Someone's messaging me. Why? I don't want to be messaged right now, bruh. So we have Opal Bear Black versus Hattie. Hattie! Kislev versus Lizardmen. I don't know the domination meta super well. I don't get to see a lot of Lizardmen in Dom, so I'm kind of curious what they're going to do here. All right, I brought you guys with me. It's good. 2 domination games. What kind of heresy is this? Last World Cup, we actually had a lot of interest from domination players, but since we only had 1 out of 5 games that was domination mode, a lot of people that wanted to play didn't get to play. So this year, we decided to be more diplomatic and let them play. Need to swap the Dom games for FFA. Based. Incredibly based. For Opal Bear Black, representing Great Britain, we have Zargard. A Zargard start with Little Grom and then some archers. We have the Oath Brothers of Tor and an Ice Witch of Tempest with Blizzard and Hailstorm. Interesting. So the other stream today, we saw almost all the domination builds went the same format where people spawned a very wide frontline first and then summoned expensive units later. This is the first time Kislev's doing that other thing I do see frequently where you get a lot of expensive stuff and then you can filter in chaff later. So we have the Oath Brothers of Tor, Little Grom, and 3 Zargard off the bat for Kislev. So pretty small force to start out. And aside from the Lizardmen, we have 3 Skink Skirmishers that are currently kiting away from the Bears. Then we have a Saurus front line with Skinks, Mazdamundi, Onslaught, and then another Stegodon. So Little Grom's actually going to have to be careful. That Stegodon can poke him down pretty consistently.
Keep it from the foe.
And yeah, the Oath Brothers of Tor really don't want to be fighting 3 skirmish skinks like that. It's not their good target, and they're just going to get poked all the way. And since they're so expensive, like, that poke is way more worth it for the Lizardmen than anything they get back on those skinks. Later, Rocket. Kroxigor is getting shot at by Little Grom for now. Kislev takes 1 of the points, and then they technically took the other one by just putting the Ice Witch on the corner. But they do want to just set up near the trees, it looks like, and form a defensive position and shoot outwards. And just kind of like hold that one physically, and then this one hold by shooting at you if you ever try and take it. And then they're just going to cede point 1. Doesn't look like they're going to spawn too much cavalry. At least not the way they're setting up. Maybe I could be wrong, but it'd be weird, in my opinion, just see a bunch of Griffin Legion pop out of nowhere where it's like, okay, but what are you going to support them with? Because you don't have a wide stance. So I do think the Lizardmen have to change the status quo. I mean, obviously they only have 1 capture point. They seem to be setting up a defensive formation themselves, but they're outranged. Grom is firing, and they're not counter-firing right now. And Kislev is getting double the points. So both in damage and in capture points, Kislev is very happy with the starting situation. And I could hear the argument of like, well, they're trying to do a build-up, but Kislev's also building up at the same rate. And again, they're shooting you right now, so they're just going to get more value. Lizards seem to notice this. They're starting to move up. Saurus are marching forward to go take point 2. Boydanov's Brawlers. The Streltsy Regiment are now not a unit you see very often. They're shotgunners. Spread fire unlike the regular Streltsy, so they'll do more burst damage to the big dinos, I guess. That's fine. Just interesting to see them. Man, we've lost half a Kroxigor unit to Little Grom. I suppose Little Grom actually doesn't have that much ammo left. Maybe they should have gone with a Drazina Lord, but maybe they didn't know the game was going to go a little slowly. Salamander Hunting Pack spawned in. Not a lot of good targets for them. Maybe the bears, but they're not armor-piercing shots. It's anti-large, but it's not armor-piercing. Ooh! That Little Grom just hit 2 or 3 Kroxigors in a row. Killed all of them. Lizards easily take the point. Kislev just backed off their Lord, but their Lord was the only capture weight they had there, which isn't very much. 3 Skinks are back on this point, but you're contesting with a Zargard and 2 other infantry and a cavalry. It's just not going to happen. Griffin Legion were summoned in. It looks like they're going to play defensively, stay back with the rest of their forces rather than overextend. The Lizards just trying to skirmish it out right now, but they are going to get hit with a hailstorm and shot by bows. I still feel like Kislev's pretty happy with how this game is going so far. Sure, at this point, they're going to have to take point 2 for some duration of time, but for now, they're just getting a ton of damage out. Salamanders are trying to fire back, but the damage is a little middling. Honestly, Kislev doesn't have as much gold damage value as I would have thought. Half-healthing 2 Kroxigors, taking this much damage off of those Skinks, and now shooting at Salamanders. You think they'd have like 2,000 value. if I do the quick maths in my head of how much those units are worth. I don't know. Seems weird. Salamander's firing into these guys. Kossar's firing back. I mean, seems to favor Kislev. Ooh, there we go. There's some value for the Lizards. Coldwind Spear Riders somehow caught Kossovite Dervishes straight up and just murdered them. Fireblood is procced, but that's not going to save them. These guys are dead as hell. Oathbros Tor jump in. This could be all a bait. Maybe the Kossovite Dervishes were here to just hold the Coldwind Spear Riders in place, as now their stats are debuffed to like nothing. Coldwind units in general have pretty bad melee attack and melee defense stats. They make up for it with having great everything else, but if you debuff them with that stuff, I mean, it makes them like literally useless. As more dervishes and the Oathbros Tor just tearing up these guys, that's a big win for Kislev in the end. Losing a dervish for a Coldwind Spear Rider, almost 1-for-1 trade. What up, World Beater? The gold counter is basically non-functional. Fair in cars. Fair. But it is tempting to look up there and be like, oh, gold damage value. But you're right. I seem to remember a lot of bugs with it. Coldwind Spear Riders falling back. They thought about jumping into the fight to aid their already fallen brethren, but seeing all the support Kislev had and the lack of support they had, nah, not gonna work. I'm still concerned for Hattie. I suppose the Stegodon's been shooting. Oh, the Stegodon has been shooting. Little Grom is very low. Now, unfortunately, we're reaching the Empire ROR Hellstorm rocket battery conundrum, where sure, you've shot Little Grom and he's almost dead, but if he's almost dead and he used all of his ammo, does it matter that you shot him? You know? And since the Empire ROR just pisses ammo so quickly, by the time most people get to it, it's already so who cares? It's got nothing left. Still, it's good to snipe out Little Grom, but Little Grom's going to fire his last shot and then would have been desummoned anyway. Cavalry engagements. Kossovite Dervishes were trying to chase down the Skink Skirmishers. Again, the Coldwind Spear Riders pounce on them. Again, the Coldwind Spear Riders are just going to tear them to pieces. But is this literally the same play as the Oathbros Tor run up to try and help the Kossovite Dervishes, who are again by our Bloodsing? And yeah, he's just been using these Dervishes as bait to get the Coldwind Spear Riders to engage. So the Oathbros Tor can countercharge them, get rid of all their stats, and murder them. That's pretty brutal. Kislev's just setting traps out here, baiting them. As the Brawlers use their fire shotguns, they definitely totally did not steal from the Chaos Dwarves. Tear into the cohort of Sotek and the other Red Crest Kings that are coming by. As Griffin Legions get a bit of an awkward charge. They accidentally had movement orders until they got a little too close. So they didn't actually get a real impactful charge, but they're just going to hold these guys in place while these Streltsy fire in. Zargard are engaging on Saurus, getting a little bit of help from the sky as Hailstorm comes down, as Kroxigors are currently butchering the poor Zargard. And the Stegodon is dueling the Frostworm, so we did finally get the frontline engagement. On the backfield, Griffin Legions are cycle charging some Saurus Warriors as other Kossovite Dervishes are summoned in, trying to get on the flanks of these guys and maybe get some leadership routes going on. Rear charges on Saurus can still be a little good. A little scary for morale. Thanks for hosting this. It was a blast last one. I played in. Hell yeah, World Beater. Mazda's currently getting picked on by the Frostworm. He is not on Zlok. He is on his toilet seat, so he's a pretty bad combatant compared to that Frostworm with its anti-large. He needs to be a little careful about that. And there goes a Blizzard. Zargard gonna get caught in it as well, but it looks like it's poking a Saurus, killing a different Saurus and a Kroxigor. But honestly, actually, with how much friendly fire did on the Zargard and how the Saurus are kind of just man-moding their way through it, that did actually end up being a better spell for the Lizards than Kislev. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Uh-oh. Turin streaming Company of Heroes 3 while I'm streaming Total War. Alright, viewership's gonna be rough on this one, lads. I appreciate any of you that stay and don't give in to the siren call of the Turin. I mean, he'll probably be streaming longer than me anyway, because these are 1-hour streams, so you can just watch both. Saurus Warriors trying to back up Mazda Mundi against the Frostworm. Frostworm does need to probably bail out at this point. It used to be fighting on Zargard, which was good, but now that it's on Saurus, you can see it's actually getting its ass kicked. These aren't Saurus Spears, but still, they're Saurus. 30 melee attack, high weapon strength. They don't fuck around. Gold damage value tracker is a lie, as Inkar's pointed out, but it still does show generally what I feel is that Kislev is ahead on damage value. Oath Brothers of Tor are getting whittled down, but man, they've taken so many Cold One cavalry with them, and Griffin Legion charging in just to make that even worse. More Cold Ones are here. These are just feral Cold Ones. Their melee stats pretty bad, but they do have armor piercing, so I guess that's fine. Mazda Mundi tanking it up as he gets fought by Griffin Legion and the Frostworm. Throws a little apotheosis on himself for some help, and the Stegodon nearby has one shot left. Has not used, otherwise it's just a melee monster. Kislev has a lot more HP on the field, though. If you look, these Lizardmen here are just dying off. Over here we saw some feral Cold Ones get spawned that are already both at half HP, and that's about it. As for Kislev, you have Kossars with full HP, Streltsy with full HP, Griffin Legion with full HP. They just have more dudes, which is why I do agree with the damage value assessment is, yeah, more Lizardmen have done dying. I see it. Hailstorm down onto the Saurus Warriors that were held in place by Kossified Dervishes. A lot of Sacrifice Fly Kossified Dervishes out there. Feral Cold Ones pushed away. Colden Riders charging back in with the last of their HP to just get a little bit of impact damage onto the Griffin Legion here. And there they go. Decent charge on a very wounded unit. They will be quickly pushed off by the Oath Brothers of Tor and the Halberds. Tickets. Lizardmen are currently ahead, though they only have 2 of the capture points. So Kislev should be able to catch up before the end of the game, and Kislev's even going to take a 3rd point. So you're looking at a triple cap, no forces on the field, and that is going to be the end of the Lizardmen. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah, they surrender. It was a good try from Hattie, but Opal Bear Black just seemed to kind of have a... He had more of a game plan from the start that he stuck with. Decent value on some of the Griffin Legion stuff. Frostworm did all right. For Hattie, Mazda really didn't get that much value. I'm surprised he didn't take Ruination of Cities or Banishment. I didn't see any of those going out. And it also shows from his 7 kills. You think he'd want to clear out... Well, you don't even have to just clear out infantry, actually. When a cav fight happens, you can still throw a Banishment on the enemy cav and get really good value. Or a Ruination of Cities on a cav blob, too. So, it's weird. I don't usually see Mazda if he's not going to take Ruination and Banishment. Back to the thing, so we had Opal win. Taking Great Britain to 2. Hattie is down. If Flying Taco and Team America are going to proceed, they need to win the next 2 games, as we have Final Boss versus Beard. Rip Hattie. All right, Beard, let's see it. Not messing around. Pulling out Norska, widely believed to be one of the best factions on this patch, especially for domination. Their bearmen are very strong. The Norscan tunneler worm, Dreadmaw, there we go. Dreadmaw is very annoying. We have lots of good stuff. So for Final Boss, he's going with Chaos Dwarves. We do have a Dreadmaw here from Norska. Some Marauder Horsemen throwing axes as well. Then Marauder Bearmen, 5 of them, a Skinwolf Werekin, and a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal with Plague of Rust, Searing Doom, and Final Transmutation. Bearmen are beloved by domination players who are using them, not as much against the players they are fighting. Because of their incredibly high HP pool and immune to psychology, it just makes them very good at getting to points and holding them. On the other side, for the Chaos Dwarves, we have some Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders with bows, Infernal Guard Fireglaves, Orc Laborers, and God Laborers, then Chaos Dwarf Warrior front lines for a bit more beef, and a Sorcerer Prophet of Fire on a Lamasu with just Burning Head. The Withering and Enfeebling Foe are bound spells to his mount. Double Infernal Castellan for some consistent poke, and that's about it. Very tanky starting roster here from the Chaos Dwarves, but not a lot of damage, so I'm a little concerned. Hopefully they're going to spawn in some damage, otherwise I don't know how they're going to clean out the Bearmen with just Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Laborers. Dreadmaw's tunneling around. I always hate that you can't see it under the ground if you zoom under. You just see nothing. It's just a flag. Makes me sad. So the Chaos Dwarves took their point 3. Norska took their point 1, and now point 2 is in contention. Norska got here first with their faster Bearmen. But the Chaos Dwarves are starting to get here, and you can see their capture weight is currently overtaking the enemy. Chimera comes out from Bird, so really going with a lot of the DLC units. And the Castellans get a little bit of poke onto the Great Shaman Sorcerer of Metal, who's just going to retreat. He doesn't want to take free poke. What are the Chaos Dwarves going to summon in with their money? Currently they're sitting on 1,600 gold, so they must be summoning something expensive. And Dreadmaw positions itself under the Infernal Guard and awaits its moment to arise. It's just so annoying. I hate that unit, man. I know Turin also does not have a lot of love for the Dreadmaw, so I don't feel alone. I forget how Anticity feels. He's either neutral on it or he also doesn't like it. It's just dumb. It's just a dumb and annoying unit. Should have been made campaign exclusive. Because it just lurks there, and like the Chaos Dwarves have to keep something back here to dive on it if it does decide to show up. Double Iron Demon Summon. That's what he was waiting for. There comes the Dreadmaw, popping up in the middle of the Infernal Guard, gets dove on by the Lamassu, and it is silenced? It's silenced because it's next to Lamassu. Can it tunnel when it's silenced? It shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't be able to click any of its abilities, so actually that could be big brain plays. Orc Laborers run up. They're not going to do much damage, though. Sorcerer Prophet's got to stay here to hold that in place, though. Unless the silence doesn't actually work that way, and it could just leave it in the point. I don't know. That would be so metal if this was like some secret tech that just stops the Frostworm from ever being able to tunnel again. It seems to be working. I mean, I think it would have left by now, right? Chimera is currently just sitting in front of Infernal Guard, which is a little risky. What is that? Final Transmutation onto the Infernal Castellan. He's kind of trying to drag it away from the other Infernal Castellan. But he doesn't quite get far enough, so that guy is currently taking the damage as well. Dreadmaw can't leave. Comes a Burning Head to try and clear out some of the Marauder Bearmen, as Goblin Laborers are going to take a little bit of the damage, but there is also an Iron Demon there. Unfortunately, though, there's no, like, Bull Centaur Renders or anybody, so it is just the Lord on a Lamassu trying to peel this, and that's not really working so well for him as something comes in. It looks like a Searing Doom on the Infernal Guard. And the Dreadmaw does get away. Oh, it teleports. I wonder if the Silence moved out of range. Silence works how you think it would on the Worm? Okay, so the Worm can't tunnel if the Lamassu is nearby. Brutal. Here comes the Kadai Fireborn, so finally some damage. As the Norscan Skirmish Cav take over the enemy's backfield. They are trying to get rid of the Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders, but they'll need to be careful. They really don't want to tangle with those Infernal Guard. The Kadai Fireborn. It's not going to go well. Lamassu once again dueling with the Dreadmaw. Dreadmaw does have 55 melee attack and 400 weapon strength, so it can actually do okay against Sorcerer Prophet. Do need these Infernal Guard to get good shots off if the Dreadmaw is going to be brought down. There we go. Beautiful volley, about 1,000 HP taken off of it. And Lamassu gets back into the sky. He's far enough away that the silence shouldn't be active right now, so the Dreadmaw could go back underground if it wants to, as the Bearmen get hit with another Burning Head. And Chaos Dwarves managed to take the victory point for a little bit. Now, I haven't looked at the Norscan summons as much because a lot's been going on in the Chaos Dwarf backline, but we do have some Skinwolves that did not come out of nowhere, so they must have been summoned in. The Dreadmaw is officially dead, which is huge for the Chaos Dwarves. Anyway, Famir Warriors with great weapons running up. Skinwolves also here. Skinwolf Werekin still going nuts in the background, trying to hunt down the Iron Demons with his anti-large and armor piercing. He can certainly do that. Chimera is stuck on the ground right now as the Kadai Fireborn catch up to it, and it is flammable from the pistol shots of the Lamassu caster. This is going to be a beautiful Searing Doom, though. Should do actually very good damage to both units caught in it. Considering how cheap the spell is, that's quite nice. Took about a 50 HP off the Kadai. Good poke on the Infernal Guard Fireglaives. You have some Skirmish Cav in the area doing what they can, but the infantry fight does go towards the Chaos Dwarves. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors beating up the Marauder Bearmen. Okay, Beard, what are you going to do? Gold damage value says he's ahead. I'll believe it for now. I guess he does have... Ooh, Marauder Ice Wolf Chariots are very good against Chaos Dwarf Warriors. We still have Skinwolves, we still have Skirmish Cav, still have a full health Famir. Just because the Chimera and the Dreadmaw have died doesn't mean the game is over. To be fair. The Chaos Dwarves, still for now, hold a 2 capture point to 1 advantage. Skinwolf Werekin in the middle of a bunch of Goblin Wolf Raiders. If he was fighting in melee, he'd do fine, but he was currently trying to leave as he's getting skirmished on. Another Burning Head down the Marauder Bearman, trying to get rid of those guys. And the Iron Demon is crazy low on HP. I wonder if it should get desummoned or just throw it to the wolves. The literal wolves. What up, Vertical Cliff? How you doing, brother? So the Bearmen are starting to come out on top just due to more of raw tenacity than actually beating Chaos Dwarf Warriors, because I think there were more Bearmen and they've gotten more support than the Chaos Dwarf Warriors got. Infernal Castellan still just trying to fight it out over here with their anti-large, armor piercing, and fire damage. Skin Wolves don't want to really tangle with that ever. And the Chimera is still alive. It's been stuck on the ground for like 8 years, but it's alive. Continues to eat up Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders. Infernal Guard not able to get good shots off, but the Kadai Fireborn have gotten in here. They really want to avoid wherever those Famir are. The Famir with great weapons will absolutely wreck these Kadai Fireborn, but if they avoid that, they'll do good damage on Bearmen. They'll do fine versus dogs and Skin Wolves and all that stuff. Speaking of Skin Wolves, the Werekin hunts down the Castellan, who may be overextended a bit trying to catch this Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. Got some decent damage down on him, but that time is at an end, as now dogs and a big dog are going to rip him to pieces. Lamasu Caster flies up over the tower. I'm going to try and silence the Shaman Sorcerer of Metal as more burning heads go through the enemy front lines. And the Kadai catch themselves some good targets. Marauder Ice Wolf Chariots and Skin Wolves, both very good targets for the Kadai Fireborn. Meanwhile, in the background, last of the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits routed off, so these two very wounded Skirmish Cav have dog shit capture weight, just the worst. But it is capture weight. And they are trying to take that third point from the Chaos Dwarf and get a triple cap for a little bit. Thanks, Sabaticus, for the reminder, and Trogdor. Yeah, Skin of Werekins are great when you don't have to take a caster hero and Wolfric or Throg. Sorry that you're behind when you make a drink, brother. Kadai Fireborn took out the Skin Wolves. And the Lamasu deals with the Great Shaman Sorcerer. And who has to win this game again? I need to remind myself. So final boss is on Great Britain. So if final boss, the Chaos Dwarves, if the Chaos Dwarves win it, USA is out. So if you're rooting for Game 5 to be what it comes down to, you're rooting for Norska and Bird. Understood. Tickets are about dead even. Damage value, according to the broken counter, is about even. And looking at the battlefield, I honestly believe that. Norska just lost their Lord, which is really bad for their leadership. And a lot of their infantry are pushed off, but they do have a good amount of mass still here, including these Famir Great Weapons, which did somehow get into a fight with the Kadai Fireborns. So they are going to shred those fools. And there they go, so goodbye Kadai Fireborn. Anyway, what I was saying, dogs, Skin Wolves, and light cavalry. Norska still has a lot. For the Chaos Dwarves, they still have some infantry. They have a full health Iron Demon that just was summoned in, and a half health Terror-causing Lord. And they have some sneaky gits. Hobgoblin sneaky gits trying to take Norska's points. While Norska is stealing the point from the Chaos Dwarves, the Chaos Dwarves is stealing a point from Norska. Iron Demon charging into the Skin Wolves. It doesn't actually have fire damage, which I would have assumed it did, so it's not actually that good versus Skin Wolves. If the Skin Wolf and the Skin Werekin all surrounded, could be in trouble. Ooh, and the Famir. If the Famir get near it, that's also pretty brutal. Norska trying to push these last sneaky gets off so they can actually capture this point, but Lamasu diving in behind them is enough to tear right off the Norscan Ice Wolves. Then Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders also charge in, getting good damage down. So the Chaos Dwarves getting some good plays, and they're going to capture the point from Norska, leaving Norska just with the central location. Not seeing a lot of banners for the Chaos Dwarves. I do see a lot of SEMs. That's true, but the Chaos Dwarves have 1,200 supplies. They could summon a couple Hobgoblin infantry units if they can resummon them, or maybe some laborers of some kind. Hell, they could even summon 2 Chaos Dwarves at this point if they really wanted to. Nice catch out on the Marauder Ice Wolves. I feel like Norska is being drawn very thin. They did resummon their Great Shaman, though. That'll help a lot with the leadership problems. And more Marauder Bearmen. I think Norska's play at this point is to just hold point 2 with the Skin Wolves and the Famir Warriors. Make it so that the Iron Demon can't mess around on point 2 at all. And then focus on capturing your own point 1 with Bearmen and whatnot. Because the Iron Demon is going to have a hard time getting that far across the map. Iron Demons aren't that fast. 57 speed. And this game is entering the late game territory. We are 500 tickets from a win. It's not like the Iron Demon has infinite time to just drive around the map and go wherever. So as long as these Famir Great Weapons zone it off the point, that'll be huge. Ooh, a late game summon of Bull Centaur Renders with Great Weapons. Jeez. Chaos Dwarf's going all in on not really having a lot of capture weight in this late game, but they do have damage. Norska going the other direction. They're actually running a bit low on damage, but they do have capture weight with summoning in Bearmen, Skirmish Cav, Skinwolf still regenerating, so. It's a tale of two styles. There's a Chaos Dwarf Warrior. There's some beef that the Chaos Dwarves desperately needed to get some capture weight. For now, Norska holds 2 points. Chaos Dwarves hold 1, as they are currently capturing point 2. Norska's trying to get some weight on the point quickly, maybe stop them from taking it. They do. They barely clutch it out, which is huge, because if the Chaos Dwarves got it, then the whole time you're capturing it, the Chaos Dwarves would be getting the points, obviously. And now, as you're like decreasing the amount that you've lost the point, you're still getting the 2-to-1 advantage. And considering how close we're getting in victory tickets, that's very important at this point. Throwing Axes trying to harass the Iron Demon, which is just trying to get out of range. It looks like the Chaos Dwarves are trying to stall until their Dwarf Warriors get here, but they're taking a lot of damage while they stall. They're getting skirmished on, and the Skinwolves are healing up, so this is not ideal for them. Skinwolf Arkin's also healing up. Probably want to engage as quickly as possible. Light Cav charging the Hobgoblin Sneaky Hits, then run away. Iron Demon fires over. Bull Centaur Renders are being very cautious about engaging as we lose a Hobgoblin Wolf Raider to some Norscan Ice Wolves. I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous. I don't love the Chaos Dwarves late game here. A little hesitant, stalling out. In come the Famir Great Weapons to push away the Iron Demon, and the Bull Centaur Renders run up. This is exactly what they were summoned in for. They're here to take out the Famir and make it safe for the Iron Demon to get involved. Final Transmutation onto both these units is pretty good. It's an undercast, not an overcast, so it won't do crazy damage, but damage is damage, and damage is good. Quick Burning Head down the line, not doing that much damage. It kind of just tickled some Bearmen and then left and went for some Skirmish Cav, so I don't love that cast, unfortunately. And the Bull Centaur Renders are doing their best against the Famir, but they are fighting on top of enemy Bearmen, so some of those attacks are definitely getting lost to killing Bearmen, while all of the Famir shots are either going into the Iron Demon or the Bull Centaur Renders. That's not exactly fair. Chaos Dwarf Warriors getting here, but this late game engagement for Norska has just been better. Their targeting has been better, their patience has been better, and they are getting a lot more out of it. Really taking a lead on the damage now. Chaos Dwarves did do a little cheek. They got another back capture on Norska, and that could be their only way to win this game, because at this point they're not going to win on flat-out damage. Like, they're not just going to attrition the enemy army out and get an advantage. That's not going to happen. Norska had way too good of an engagement on this middle point. You can blame it on maybe Chaos Dwarf misplays, maybe Norska's outplays, but however you slice it, whatever perspective you take, it doesn't matter. The end result is Norska has way more units on the battlefield now, and that the Chaos Dwarves are in trouble. So, to win, Chaos Dwarves need to be sneaky, which they are. Captured point 1 and 3. Norska's committing a lot of resources to go take point 3. Interesting, because the Chaos Dwarves are theoretically much closer to point 3. They can summon a lot closer and get there, but you think Norska would want to take point 1 quicker. It looks like they're going for both at the same time. Knowing that they have such a damage advantage on the Chaos Dwarves at this point in the game, and they have so many more units on the field, they're just trying to pressure everywhere because the Iron Demon can't be at all 3 points. The Lamassu can't be at all 3 points. The Chaos Dwarf Warriors can't be at all 3 points. So it's like, all right, you're going to have to sack something, and I'm going to capture that point. As both teams are nearly tied on victory tickets, currently Chaos Dwarves hold 2 out of the 3 points once again, but that won't last forever. The Lamassu does tear out off the Ice Wolves. How is the fight for point 3 going? We did get some late Chaos Dwarf summons. Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders just trying to offer some capture weight while they skirmish with the Skin Wolves, but that's not going to work. They're pushed off, and capture point 3 will fall to Norska. What do the Chaos Dwarves have to answer? Not a lot, as the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits are pushed off the point. Lamassu doesn't actually offer capture weight. He's a flying single entity, so the Chaos Dwarves are actually about to be triple capped, which is a disaster for them, considering, again, that they were down on damage. They're down on units on the field, so getting triple capped is a death sentence, because you just don't have the damage left to take any points, right? Iron Demon, the Kai Fireborn, and the Chaos Dwarf Warriors trying to take point 2. Norska did abandon point 2. But this late in the game, you'll definitely take a double cap for Norska by sacrificing the central point. That's totally fine. And now they're sending resources to the middle point. They were trying to maybe hold it, keep a triple cap for a little longer, but it's not to be. Again, the tickets are crazy close. But at this point, I think that's the death knell for the Chaos Dwarves. Too good of an engagement early on. Well, it was early late game, which is a weird phrase, but when we got into the late game, Norska had a crushing victory in the middle, and it was up to the Chaos Dwarves to try and triple cap for a bit or do something like that. They couldn't do it, and Norska is going to just control more of the map for longer in the late game, which is pretty important. So it's GG. They're going to end out on points in a second. I can do maths, and I can see that there's no hope for the Dwarves. Well played from both players, but Beard did clutch out a victory. I call him Beard because he has a Y in his name, and I assume that's supposed to be different than just Bird, but maybe I'm wrong. In case anybody's annoyed with my pronunciation of that. Decent value spread across Norska. For the Chaos Dwarves, also pretty decent value spread. The game was very even damage value-wise. There were occasional swings this way and that until that late game fight. That really threw everything out of balance. Just the Bull Centaurs being cautious about engaging, and then the Iron Demon too, but they were taking skirmish cav fire, but then they like didn't wait for the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, so they engaged before the Chaos Dwarf Warriors got there, kind of getting the worst of both worlds. It's like you took skirmish damage, and then you didn't even finish waiting. So yeah, just kind of a bit of a whoopsie there. And then there was a burning head during that fight too that went really wide. I don't know. I don't want to be too much of a dick because the game was crazy close and Final Boss had a lot of good engagements. I'm just pointing out at what I thought decided the game. Yeah, it was just felt a little bit like a panic moment. That brings us to game 5. Yeah, it does. This is it. Lenorm versus Incars to decide the series. Land battle, Ash Plains. Great Britain versus America. 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 Incars on Greenskins versus Lenorm on Norscus. This is that repeat I did say we'd see one faction twice. It is Norska. NC Gala, also known as Lenorm. Loading up. He's got some DLC units. He's got the Caster Lord. He's got the Chimera. He's got some Bearmen. Can Incars win against pay-to-win OP bullshit garbage? Not really. I actually like Norska. I think their DLC was pretty fine. So I'm just being a silly memer. We have 2 Black Orcs with great weapons, then Goblin Spears for a front line, to Swamp Things for a bit of terror. Ruglin's Armored Orcs and to Rusty Airs with another Savage Orc Arboy backing him up. A Goblin Bolt Thrower and a Spider Shaman with Don't Even Try It and Vindictive Glare. Then we have a couple Orc Boarboy Biggins for some cavalry. Pretty unique greenskin build. I like it. It's fun. It's neat. On the other side for Norska, this is much more traditional. While the greenskin build is surprising me a little bit, the Norska build does not. Beasts of Tashnar and Norscan Ice Wolves paired with Skin Wolves is a classic since Warhammer 2, and it is still going very strong. Chimera is a very strong single entity from the DLC, and then Marauder Bearmen and Marauders is a decently standard frontline. Iceworm Marauders is a little unique, but it's just more Marauders. Then we do have a Shaman Sorcerer of Fire who is currently getting sniped out aggressively, but he does have Burning Head and Cascading Fire Cloak if he gets to survive to engage in the frontline fight at all. Nice flat desert map. There's nowhere for him to hide, no terrain pieces to get him away from the Vindictive Glare, so he might just have to retreat and get like really, really far away from the battlefield for a bit and then come in later. There goes a Burning Head down the Black Orcs. No, it was the Chimera's Breath attack. I just didn't see the trail, so I thought it was a Burning Head. I guess I'm just a poo-poo dumb idiot. More Vindictive Glares getting cast at the Goblin Great Shaman, from the Goblin Great Shaman onto the Sorcerer of Fire. But here we get some nice downhill charges. The Skin Wolves will be getting a bonus from charging downhill into the pigs. That should be an even better engagement for them, as they also have poison and frostbite support from their dogs. But there goes a sneaky stabbing onto the Boarboy Biggins, giving them 24 more melee attack and 25% more damage armor piercing. Yeah. Norscan Ice Wolf Chariots not having a good time fighting the Black Orcs with their great weapons. With their high mass and incredible armor-piercing damage, the Ice Wolf Chariots gets bogged down in them easily and pushed away. as the Shaman hides behind them to tank one of those annoying shots. Rusty Arrows dodge a bit of the Burning Head. I'm guessing it was cast down their line earlier, but then they turned away from it. And yeah, the Pig Cav are getting messed up, so pretty quickly here, the Greenskins are going to run out of mass, and they're going to be just relying on infantry to hold back all of the dog and bigger dog units. So 2 out of the 3 pigs are routing, only Broken Tusk Mob are currently standing there. Not standing that strong. For Norska, their front line is having a really bad time. Marauders and Marauder Bearmen cannot stand up to Black Orcs. And hell, basic Marauders can barely even stand up to Goblins because Marauders are, say it with me, bad. They're bad. They're necessary for the rosters they're on, but they're trash, garbage, terrible. And Goblins are actually decent, especially when you have Law. Goblin Bolt Thrower is knocked offline by the Chimera. River Trolls trying to punish him, but they lack armor piercing and honestly significant damage, so the Chimera should be fine. Yeah, they're just gonna leave him. They don't care. And for Norska is gonna just stop and chase off some of these units so the Greenskins don't get a second wind, a second rally. But the longer they take, the more danger their Shaman is in. Does he rout? Because he might rout off the map. If he doesn't rout off the map, he's probably just gonna try and hide in the corner. Just not die. Just don't die, friend. Just don't die. Skinwolves and Marauders fighting against the Broken Tusk Mob, who somehow have managed to not rout yet. More doggos trying to get in on the ranged units of the Greenskins, but there is a giant spider in your way, doing really good damage on them, because the Norskin Ice Wolves are technically large units, so the anti-large bonus that the spiders have does apply. Greenskin's a little ahead on the balance power, I would actually agree. Norskin infantry losses have been rather significant. Now, while they have mobility advantage and while they have Skinwolf healing and yada yada, so on and so forth, I still agree that the Greenskins have a lot of beef left. This is land battles, not conquest, so unfortunately for the Greenskins, they can't just set up on the point and force the Norskins to engage quicker. They will have to be at the mercy of the Norskin cycle charging and regeneration. Now it is land battle, so you have some basic rules where Norskin needs to be attacking something somewhere at some time, right? They can't just fully run away. But with this many units, I mean, you can easily cycle out who is fighting and who is sitting back and healing. We'll see if it's even enough. Black Orcs proving to be quite the force for the Skinwolves to reckon with, as other Skinwolves do engage for a bit, but the Broken Tusk Mob are nearly unbreakable, man. These guys have been low on HP, low on leadership for as long as I can remember, and they're still hanging in there, providing the buffs that the Greenskins need. And then I don't see the Norskin Shaman's flag, so I actually think he ran off the map. Lord fled recently, yeah, so all of Norska is taking a -16 to leadership, which is brutal. If this game goes super long, Norska could come back in it, but I'm scared for their longevity right now. They're having a pretty tough go of it. We still have the Swamp Things, we still have some archers, we still have both the Black Orcs are around half HP. Goblin Great Shaman is literally full HP. And they lost their Lord and Caster, yeah. Damn. I mean, yeah, the only way for Norska to win this is some crazy late game regenerating cycle charging stuff. If there is any way to win it. Chimera, do you still have breath attacks? You have 1. Alright. I want to see it down a line of Black Orcs. It's probably your best bet. Goblin Great Shaman firing off more vindictive glares. After killing the Norskin caster, he's now focusing on just poking the Chimera a little bit. Smart, smart. The Skinwolves are going to try and collapse in now. Looks like they're taking engagement. Broken Tusk Mob thought about getting a side charge, don't quite get it, and now they try and retreat very low on HP as their speed gets slowed by those Norskin Ice Wolves. There they finally routed a moral victory for Norska at least, if not a real victory, which real victory is looking hard to come by as now you have Norskin Ice Wolves surrounded by Goblin Spears and Black Orcs. More poke onto the Chimera. It does not have healing. Last breath attack is out from it. And more sneaky stabbing for the Black Orcs, getting their melee attack up to 47. Weapon strength at 59. As they hold against the Skinwolves. Chop us out, boys. Chop us out. Chimera lands on the back of them, but these Black Orcs are ITP. They ain't scared of yous. They ain't scared of nothings. The fate of Great Britain hangs in the balance as Norska starts to rout. Zach Brannigan comes to mind as he says, "Stop running, you cowards." And then when they're dying instead, he says, "Stop dying, you cowards." Nobody knows what Futurama is anymore. You're a boomer, Austin. Did you just say Austin? Did you forget to use your screen name? Did you forget to say human boy? I did. My name's Austin. Most people already knew that. This is cursed, bros. This is cursed. As we lose more and more dogs, it's just 2 skinwolves and a nearly dead chimera versus the world. The world's a big place full of giant shaman spider monsters. Full health swamp things? Yeah, there's also the full health swamp things. There goes a terror route on the skinwolves. I would not be surprised if army losses showed up once that route turned into a natural route, if it turns into a natural route. Or, hold on, I get an or Goblin Great Shaman fires 1 more Vindictive Glare at the Chimera. Either of those is going to army loss this. The next white flag or Vindictive Glare. Vindictive Glare at the Chimera. He hits it, and it's army losses! Hey, let's go. My prediction powers is still perfect. Oh wow, human boy, the balance of power was crazy against them, and you figure that if one of their last expensive units took a quarter of its HP, all of a sudden that would trigger army losses. You're so fucking smart. No one else could have figured that out, human boy. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for affirming that. I didn't sense any sarcasm in your tone at all. You meant that sincerely, that I am a unique genius. Thank you. Incars, with a very creative build, does pull out the win for Team USA 4. Black Orcs did pretty well. Archers all did very well. The Pigs mostly got wrecked. The RR got to stay around. River Trolls didn't get that much done. Goblin Bolt Thrower also struggled a little bit. For Gala, his caster could not participate in the game. He just couldn't do it. Chimera also didn't get that much value. The breath attacks weren't able to get incredible value because there wasn't really good targets for them, unfortunately. Bearmen got crushed by Black Orcs, and then the Norscan Ice Wolves and the Skin Wolves did pretty well, but not enough to carry the whole game. Bring you over to the desktop. You can see your own chat for a second, and then we'll pop you up there. I'm going to delete that game so it's not clogging up my replay folder. Goodbye, that thing. All right, over here. Green check mark for in-cars, red Chrissy Crossy for the Great British Baking Show. That is another 3-2 result. And if you take a look at the challenge bracket, we've actually had a pretty banger World Cup so far because all 3 of the series I have cast have been 3-2. But USA 4 will advance. The winner you selected does not match the... Oh, I hate how you do that challenge. Whatever. I hate how it thinks a certain score has to be the winner's one. All right, so USA 4 is waiting for the winner of USA 2 versus Visegrad, which is my team. I can tell you we have 1 game left to be played. So, yeah, they won't be waiting too long. Yeah. So throughout this week and weekend, I will be still sneaking in streams like this. We have 5 more series ready to go. All of these games are done. So the tournament's actually right here. I just haven't revealed who those names are yet. So we'll keep streaming them, probably do one. I don't know if tomorrow night. I have some friends I was going to hang out with, but do another stream Friday night, most likely. Probably do 1 or 2 streams on Saturday. Yeah. Things like that. So should be fun. Should be good. Cool. See y'all then. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream again. They're pretty short and concise. Later.